Welcome back to Lean on Success, where process improvement is self-improvement. My name is Ben. I'm a Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt, and today is an exciting day. We are starting a new segment on the channel called Gemba In Real Life. Now, Gemba is a Japanese word that means the place where the truth can be found. And this segment really encapsulates the vision of this channel, which is to observe Lean Six Sigma concepts applied in real life. So without further ado, let's start Gemba in Real Life, or I like to call G.I.R.L. Okay, let me lay out a scenario for you. Let's say you've got 100 single people, all similar ages, all marriage minded, and you've got them collected together in a speed dating ballroom, right? So, hey, you're thinking if this is a sample of the United States population of single people, you have 50 men and 50 women, right? Well, the problem is the U.S. population is actually 51% female. So if this room was a representative sample of single people in the United States, there's actually going to be more women than men. So a best case scenario, if you pair off every single man, you're going to have two women that don't leave with anybody. So we see right off the bat, the deck is a little bit stacked against women just because you outnumber men in the United States. Let's take this a step further, okay? Now, we've got all our women and men in a room. You got your 51 women and your 49 men here. And you've got Jane Doe here. And Jane Doe is looking for love just like everybody else. Well, what's Jane looking for? Now, let's say Jane wants a man that's at least 6 feet tall, because everyone wants a man that's tall, dark, and handsome, right? So Jane's looking for a man that's 6 feet tall. Well, as we learned in the last episode, the average height for men in the United States is 5 feet 9 inches with a standard deviation of 3 inches. So we learned that only about 15% of men in the United States are at least 6 feet tall. Well, now she has significantly shrunk the size of the pool of eligible men that she's looking for in the room. Now, what else is Jane looking for? Jane, like most women, want a man that's not broke, right? I don't want no scrubs, nothing going on but the rent, right? You don't want a broke man. We need to define what not broke means, though. So to keep it very simple, we're going to say that she's looking for a man that earns at least $75,000 annually. Now, you might say, Ben, now why are you picking this number? First of all, this number applies to normal cost of living cities. We're not going to be looking at inflated cities like New York, San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, etc. In most of your American locales, we're looking at what would be considered $75,000 salary. Now, why $75,000? Why do we pick that one? Well, there are multiple studies that indicate that people reach a certain level of happiness and or contentment in their lives when they reach around $75,000 annual income. So we're going to use this as a benchmark to say that if a man is making at least $75,000 a year, he's not broke. Well, the problem is the median income in the United States is actually $50,000 for men. And only 32% of men in the United States earn $75,000 or more. So now that very small pool that Jane was looking at has gotten even smaller. So now she started with the pool of 49 men in this ballroom. But if she wants a man that's at least 6 feet tall and makes at least $75,000 a year, well, that number shrinks from 49 to 3 just based on the U.S. statistics. So seems like a pretty uphill climb because, a lot of these women are looking for the same thing Jane's looking for. Well, let's even the playing field a bit. Let's assume that 2/3 of the women in the room are willing to settle for a man that's not 6 feet tall and or is not making at least $75,000 a year. So even if we subtract the women who don't have the same standard as Jane, she's still looking at about a 6-to-1 female to male ratio. Emotional damage. Now, it's important to note, we've only filtered for height and income here. We haven't filtered for weight. We haven't filtered for general attractiveness. We haven't filtered for whether he's been married before. We haven't filtered for whether he has children or not, right? But just filtering for height and income, the deck is already highly stacked against Jane. So if Jane is struggling to understand why it's so difficult for her to find a good man that meets her standards, well, it's because there's not very many men that meet the standards that she set. All right, so that's it today. Thanks so much for watching this inaugural episode of Girl. If you liked this video, please hit that like button. If you think that I'm a complete misogynist for sharing this information, please hit that unlike button. Please subscribe to the channel and share this content. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.